We've created an app that has only one valid mobile number and password as of now, and based on that, one can log into the app. But well, we have a few Avengers in this app. So, let's keep one mobile number but add multiple valid passwords that can be used by different Avengers. We'll keep the password as Tony for Iron Man, Steve for Captain America, and Bruce for the Hulk. The rest of the Avengers can log in using Thanos as the password. And then we will customize the pages that each of them will see. Let's go back to this activity. To store multiple passwords in the same variable, we will need to create an array, right? Let's do that here. When we check the entered password, we will check whether the array contains the password or not. To do that, we will need to change this part of the if-else condition. Now, we will write valid password.contains and pass the variable password in brackets here. This statement checks if the array valid password contains the password stored in the password variable or not. Aren't the names of functions really simple to remember? As you can see, most of them are named after what they do. That's the beauty of following conventions while coding. The developers of Android library followed the conventions, and hence it made it easier to understand the functions and what they do. You should also always use coding conventions while coding. Now, if you run the app and enter any of the passwords along with the correct phone number, we'll be able to log in. So here, we are using the password Steve. Yes, we logged in. Now let's use the password Tony. Yes, logged in again. You can go ahead and try using all the passwords and check. Okay, let's go on to the next step. In the main activity, that is the Avengers profile activity, we can check which password was used to log in and then customize the screen. So for example, we can give the name of the Avenger that logged in as the title of the screen. This is similar to what we see in various apps that we use, where upon login, you can see your name here. So let's plan a bit as to what we need to do to achieve this, and then we will move to write the code. First, we need to check which password was used to log in. Then, we need to send the name of the corresponding Avenger to the main activity. Now, this name that has been sent will be set as the title of the main activity. Sounds like a simple step-by-step job to do, yes? Why wait then? The first step is to declare a new variable that will store the name of the Avenger. Next, we need to check the passwords individually, which means that this won't work anymore. Why? Because this is making the user log in if any of the passwords are correct. But now, we want to check each password separately and give different values to this name of Avenger variable. Yes? Okay, so one way to go about it is to separate these two conditions for checking the phone number and password, and then use a nested if-else. Let's do it on the fly and understand the logic as we do it. First, we'll check if the phone number entered is correct. Then, if this condition is passed, we will nest a set of if-else inside this and check for passwords individually. If the password is equal to the password stored at index 0 of the array, then make the name of the Avenger as Iron Man. Else, if it is equal to the password stored at index 1, make the name of the Avenger as Captain America, and so on. Of course, we will put the name of the Avenger as the Avengers for the password Thanos, since it is the common password being used by all the other Avengers other than the three which have their own passwords. Also, we will have to paste the code for creating an intent inside each of these conditions, since we want the new screen to open if any of the passwords are correct. But wait, can you see any redundant code that can be reduced here? Look closely. We'll give you a hint. It's a single line that has been used 4 times and can be used only once. Okay, here's what we spotted. This is the variable for intent, and this can be created outside the if-else block with the rest of the variables, right? So let's remove these 4 lines from here and put one single line here. Now, we can't remove this start activity method from here since we want to start the activity only if the passwords are correct. So they remain here itself. And of course, we will put the else statement at the end and put the code for toast inside it. So, we have saved different names of the Avengers according to the passwords that have been entered. Now, we need to pass this name of Avenger to the next activity, right? Well, instead of creating another bridge, why don't we simply use this intent? Since it is already connecting the current activity and the main activity. To do this, we'll use a method called putExtra that will help us put extra material onto the bridge, and the intent will carry this data to the main activity. We'll use this statement to do this. This tells us that we are using the putExtra method with the intent variable. Now, if you see the suggestions that come here, you will notice that this method can carry any type of data. There are two things that it is carrying. One is the name of the data, which will always be a string, and the value of the name, which will be the actual data that we want the intent to carry. Looking here, we can see that this value can be in any data type. It can be an int value, character, double, string, anything. Now, here we give the name of the data to be sent, which we are giving as name, and then the value of this data, for which we will use the variable name of Avenger. Remember, this name that we give here is case sensitive, and we will need to remember this. Let's put this inside all the if-else blocks. Okay, so we have successfully passed the name of the Avenger to the main activity file. Now, we need to read this data in that activity and use it as the title of the activity. So let's proceed to the main activity. Inside this activity, we will first check if the intent is null or not. If it is not null, we will use getStringExtra method to extract the data stored in the intent. Since we have sent a string value, we will use the getStringExtra method. If we had sent data of some other data type, we would have used the corresponding method here, such as getIntExtra or getCharExtra, etc. Now, inside the parenthesis here, we will pass the name of the data, that is, name. This is case sensitive, so the name with a small n will be different from the name with a capital N. Now, once we have extracted the data, we need to put the data in a variable. For this, we'll declare a global variable here. We are using nullable string as the data type here. Then, we'll use that variable here like this to store the data we extracted. Now, outside the if block, we will give the title as this data that we extracted instead of the previous title which was already here. Looks like we've completed all the steps, right? So let's go to the app and let's use the different passwords to check if it worked. We put Steve as the password and yes, we get the name Captain America on the title of the screen. Let's do one more. I'm going to put Bruce this time. Oh, see, we get the title as the Hulk. So, we've successfully done this. Our app now checks for the correct phone number and password and also customizes the screen that opens up with different passwords. We're really making progress. Click next to make your app more user and developer friendly.